Hello, my name is Ted Sass, and I live in Omaha, Nebraska. And thank you for taking a few of your minutes to view my Gold Security USA. Gold Security USA. Or to put it another way, gas50.com. You know, I'm using those two .coms to introduce my concept of Gold Group USA. You noticed on the two frames before I started talking on the video, you saw the graphics related to the three different concepts. Two of them are merged into one, and the last one is the basis or the foundation for the first two. Now, I know that's convoluted, but sometimes you just can't explain something in 2 or 3 words. You gotta put it all together. Now, a while back, I'm a lifelong salesperson, by the way. Just can't give up. I retired a few years ago, but I started working at home. So I've been working with business plans, applying my experience that I gained through decades and decades of selling and sales management, starting businesses, doing importing from Europe, so on and so forth. I decided that I got tired of looking at the steering wheel, going across the country, doing my selling work and sitting in airports and waiting for planes to come in and land and take off again, or the other way around. So I decided to work from home and been doing that for the last several years. And I've created a lot of original concepts based on my experience. And one of them that is really exciting is merged business models. That's where I take different business models and put them together to create a new concept that makes it easier to do what I want to do, because I've got the connections between different business models to create a new business direction or business model. Now, how does that relate to gold? Well, everybody understands that's why gas 50, because everybody in every state understands that gold is a security value. And it fluctuates in price, but nevertheless, if there's enough of it, it creates a security value. And when you're talking about business, a collateral of security gold is important. So the problem with getting a business funded a lot of times is the manner in which you have to go about funding the business. And I like to stay away from the traditional ways of funding businesses, because there's too many loopholes, or not loopholes, but there's too many hoops. That's the word I'm looking for, hoops. There's too many hoops you have to jump through, and there's too much expense and cost, legal fees, blah blah blah. So and now my point is, though, as long as you're obeying the law with whatever you do, as long as if there's any profits in what you're doing, you're paying your taxes, and you're having a certified public accountant, a state licensed certified public accountant, do the financial audit necessary to report any income according to the IRS regulations, and you're taking your legitimate, lawful expenses and putting them against any income and paying taxes on the income. As long as you're, in other words, as long as you're obeying all the laws, there's nothing that says you can't have a non-traditional business model. Okay, so back to gold. Um, what I've done here is I've got a program of advertising and marketing called Zip Code Associates that I sell to. It's a membership program, and it's approved. That is, members have to be approved, and they're organized by zip codes and carrier routes, and I provide membership benefits to the approved business member. Now, why do they have to be approved? Well, they have to be approved because I only sell one category of business per zip code, and if there's two in a zip code, they have to be in different carrier routes. That's how I organize the chapter city memberships, by exclusives. And why do I do that? Well, the members' businesses that are approved, and by being approved, it simply means that there's only one of a category in a zip code, or if there's more than two of the same category in a zip code, then they have to be in separate carrier routes. If they have an exclusive, such as a benefit for customers of my concept of weekly cash awards, well, they have a benefit over the rest of the people in their city, in their zip code, in their category of business that the others don't offer or can't offer weekly cash awards. So that's a benefit, especially when you consider that the weekly cash awards program is unique in itself, and that is to say that the way I've got it organized is the weekly cash awards is based on the funding of the weekly cash awards from the membership investment that approved members invest into the marketing and advertising program. So they pay a weekly amount of $9 a week. Now, what that right away says, everybody wants in because it's so economical. It's the cost of the investment for the advertising is so economical. So it's not a question of whether somebody's going to invest in this marketing program. It's a question of whether they can get in. And then it's $30 a year for administrative membership costs. So you take 1,000 members in the average size city like Omaha, you're talking about $500,000 a year with 1,000 members. That's only 100 businesses in a zip code, or 10 categories of businesses in each carrier route. 10 carrier routes in a zip code, you've got 100 categories of business in a zip code, and each one of them have a good solid customer base as an exclusive to those customers, and they're offering weekly cash awards. So you take that $9 a week with 1,000 members, that's $9,000 a week that the membership is contributing. The businesses contribute as an investment in their marketing program. And with my business membership plan, half of that money is by written agreement placed into the weekly cash awards every week by categories. So the categories extend out past the cities to other cities that have chapter city memberships, where you've got the categories that are exclusive, and half of their money goes into the fund too. And each city has the consumer entrance into the directory is a rainbow business directory. There's a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow for consumers, because they all sign up from the different cities on A, B, C, D, D for dog, A, B, C, D email list, and there's no charge to register, no purchase necessary to register. And the weekly categories of cash funding for weekly cash awards is half by written agreement of the $9 a week. So that's $4.50 a week. So in each category, in each city, you've got about $4,500 that is contributing to the weekly cash awards. Now, overall, at the entrance, when customers register, they register, and the weekly cash awards are awarded by the date that they register. So when they register, they put in their email address, they put in their zip code where they work and their zip code where they live, so they can find benefits of approved businesses in their city by zip codes where they work and by where they live. That's so that it makes it convenient for them, whether they're off work or whether they're at work, they can still get out and interact with retailers and businesses that are service businesses that are located right within their sphere of their location of a given part of a day, whether it's at work or whether it's at home. So when you start, if you just quickly say, well, 10 chapter cities at 5,000, just take a rounded figure of 5,000 per city in one category of business, combined, you're talking about a $50,000 weekly cash award benefit in that category of business. Say beauty salons or electricians or plumbers or dry cleaners or restaurants, and there I categorize the kind of a restaurant, because everybody's not going to eat the same food all the time anyway. So you have categories of restaurants, and so now that's 100 cities, 10 cities at 5. That's $50,000 cash award, and then you've got say 100 cities at 5,000. Now you're talking about 50,000 a week of weekly cash awards. And if you get up to 1,000 cities, which is hardly just a few of all the cities that there are in the USA, now you're talking about, you start to get to some serious, and when you consider the fact that all the people that are registered, everybody that's registered is going to get a weekly cash awards, and that works based on the date they registered. At the server, there's always a timestamp, okay, with a email registration. So what happens is, with my program, ABCD email list, the amount of the fund as chapter city members are approved and as chapter cities are opened, that fund is fluctuating and increasing almost on a daily basis because the businesses apply online. So that fund is always increasing, and the email registrations of customers is always increasing because you've got businesses that are promoting the weekly cash awards to their customer base to have them register so they are qualified to be issued or to be awarded cash awards. So the fund, the amount of the weekly cash awards varies from week to week because of the moving amount of the number of people that have registered and the amount of the fund as businesses are approved for joining. The cash amounts that are contributed for investment is increasing each time some businesses are approved for membership based on their exclusive availability in their zip code. So what you've got is a situation where if the number of email registrations outstrip the amount of the money, then you stop when at a point of your registrations by customers based on the date as to who gets the awards down. The earliest date you start making the awards, and the amount is based on the fund of the total till that amount runs out. And then the next week, as businesses put in another $9 a week, then that fund replenishes itself. And so the amount of money that's awarded again is different, because the awards for that week start where the last award was awarded to the last date of the awardee. So now you've got another group of people down the list of the ABCD email marketing list that are awarded cash awards. So, and the beautiful part about my plan is, since businesses are, remember, this is a marketing and advertising program, so the idea is to keep new customers that register coming back to those exclusive businesses so that they can affect their share of market in their category in their city. That is, increase their sales by constantly getting new customers. So you have to remember that the idea is to get the customers to keep going back. And why wouldn't a customer want to keep going back when they consider the fact that when you get to the bottom of this email list, it starts over at the top again? Because, as I say, the businesses contribute the $9 every week. So that fund replenishes every week. And so it just keeps recycling as weekly cash awards. Now, that's an exciting thing. Now, in addition to that, each of the businesses use my America Again Trend coupons. And then I have gas pond coupons for the independent convenience stores that sell gas. And also I have Cloverleaf branded coupons for those businesses that are grouped and approved around the exits and entrances of the superhighways that ring all of your cities today. So there's 3 different kinds of coupons that are in addition to the weekly cash awards, and those coupons can be found at the web page of each approved member that's located at the Rainbow Business Directory and local page deals link that defines the number of businesses and their categories that are approved in each zip code carrier route. So it's easy for customers to find the businesses close to them where they can get these coupons honored. Now, the connection to the gold part, the gold group part, and the gold security, gold asset security, or gas 50, gold asset security in all 50 states, is this. In running a membership program like this, you've got certain expenses that you have to be able to fund in order to cause the membership to grow nationally. And why wouldn't everyone want it to grow? Because it's good for the businesses, and it's good for customers, and it's exclusive. So that means that people gravitate to this program because it is exclusive, and therefore they change their buying habits because they can get weekly cash awards at approved businesses and zip code associates that they can't get at other businesses in those categories in their city. So, and it's fantastic for the businesses because they have a way to make their advertising dollars and their advertising advertising investment effective as well as efficient. So it's economical and it's effective. And that's what businesses want for advertising. And therefore, the costs of running the membership have to be funded. Now, you've got that period of time where when you're developing the memberships throughout the chapter cities for increasing them, I mentioned earlier 10 cities, or 100 cities or 1,000 cities, or think of 10,000 cities that are members of Zip Code Associates. Well, in order to grow like that, you need a very dynamic website. In other words, and it has to be scalable. It has to be. This is a computer engineering cost that is necessary to develop and to fund a dynamic website interface such as the one that I just described. The funding and operation of the weekly cash awards is a critical part of the entire business plan. And so at $100,000 a year or $150,000 a year for a computer engineer, a design engineer to maintain, to develop and maintain that sort of a software, exclusive branded software situation, you have to fund that, don't you? And while you're growing the membership, there's a gap between the amount of money necessary to fund the development costs and actually paying people to do this work. There's a gap there. And for many months now, and even years, couple of years, I've been struggling with that gap, that funding concept, to get up to speed with the amount of businesses contributing the $9 a week and $30 a year, so that weekly cash awards is a substantial amount of money that can be awarded every week and awarded in an equitable and efficient manner according to the website terms of service. Now, one thing I want to stress here at this point is that there's a lot of money changing hands in this program, even though it's a little bit of money for each business. And when businesses are signing up at the registration, they're told that they're going to be getting weekly cash awards, and they're going to be getting them on a repeating basis, cycling basis, just for registering. So you've got to have some way to legally justify that agreement and that offer and that commitment. And you have to, because you can't, the regulations of business, commercial codes and so forth require that everything be done in a legal fashion. So in order to certify the agreement, and in order to validate the agreement with the customers and also the business owners, because they're told in their membership agreement that 100% of the money that they put in to Zip Code Associates is used to promote the group, the membership, 100% of it. Well, they're going to want to have some certification of that, some validation of that. And the customers are told that they register for weekly cash awards, and they're going to be getting weekly cash awards on a regular basis from then on out. And it's based on the date that they registered on the server, and the software goes down, ticks that off based on the amount and the fund every week. The weekly cash awards fund every week. And when we get to the bottom and the money runs out, then it stops for that week. But then the next week, it starts up again at that point. And it starts awarding down based on the dates that people registered till the fund runs out. And when it gets to the bottom, it starts at the top again. And so you've got to have a way to justify and certify and validate all those commitments. And the way you do that is you have a certified public accountant keep track of it and run financial audits on the numbers and publish them online. And I branded that called CPA Audits Online and CPA Verified so that everybody, including the regulatory government people, know that everything is according to certified public accountant auditing. These people are professionals, they're state licensed, and therefore they're acceptable to the IRS for filing income taxes, and so they'd be acceptable, their audits would be acceptable for this business agreement and so forth. So getting back to the costs of developing the membership program so that the benefits are there and the branded coupons can be used and the websites can be developed, and overcoming the problem of getting that money up so that it is desirable by consumers at just a moment's decision to register, which is very important. You've got to have some way to set that gap aside until you get to the point where the members are established, the cash is rolling in every week, and you're off to the races, so to speak. Well, the way to do that is what I've come up with to solve this gap problem is Gold Group USA, which is the gold asset security USA, which translates into GAS 50, GAS standing for Gold Asset Security. What happens is people put in a small amount of money on a weekly basis, and that money is used to purchase gold. And the gold is held in secure government bonded accounts. Okay, so then that amount of money is used as a security for paying the investment necessary of expenses to develop the software, to pay the engineers, the website designers, and even member acquisition costs. You have to have some sales operation going and marketing in order to make the membership opportunity available and knowledgeable among business owners. So the gold ends up being a development of a collateral or a security asset situation. Then that can be used to fund various costs of developing the membership. Now, there's obvious benefits for approved members and zip code associates. There's obvious benefits for customers who are registered, which is the weekly cash awards and the branded coupons. There's obvious benefits for the Gold Group USA also, because the gold is always held as an asset, and gold has a cycle of return on investment, just like any other investment does. And currently, the gold professional investor advisors and consultants worldwide are promoting a concept of roughly 1% or more return on gold investment held for the long term. Well, they go as low as 3 months, but the 1% minimum projected, now this is not a guarantee, but it's projected based on historical trends of the gold market. They're looking at a 12%, roughly a 12% annual at a minimum return on investment for gold held in the cycle. So now you've got the gold that the money that people put into Gold Group USA to provide the gold asset security USA to fund the business plan for the membership program. That you've got that gold security there that's held as gold, and you've got the increase of the interest on the gold, the increased return on the value of the gold that's held. And when you get into some numbers on this, it's beyond the scope of this video to get into those numbers. And besides that, you can't be specific. You can't say it's going to return a certain amount or it's going to be worth a certain amount. But what you can say is the written agreement, if it's audited by CPA, professional CPA state licensed auditors, and a financial report is issued, and it's issued based on the agreement for the Gold Group USA, that the members share in any and all advancement of value, progressive value, and then beyond that, then you have the dollars there that can be funneled to the growing income from the zip code membership group, where you've stated by agreement that the money will all be returned to promote the group. Okay, now just to get into the more specifics, if 15% of the amount of money that is being paid in is used and budgeted and made transparent in the membership agreement, in the budget for the money that's being put in, if 15% of that money is used for the membership acquisition sales program, then 15% of all of the members' incomes, and we mentioned $500,000 from one city, 15% of that is $75,000 a year. So if you take out, to say go to 10 cities, that's $750,000. If you go to 1,000, that's $7.5 million of membership acquisition income commissions. Now, if you turn those commissions around to be an input of income to the gold group that funded the development of the business plan for Zip Code Associates, which is a marketing and advertising fund, doesn't have to be a registered security. It's simply a commission program that is developed, and the developers are Gold Group USA, and their commission for developing and funding the cost of developing the Zip Code Associates on a national scale, all 50 states, with the internet distribution, creates an amazing opportunity. Because remember, the gold is held. You've got the return on the investment of the gold with the, of course, collateral for the funding of cash that is necessary to pay the development costs of Zip Code Associates, which is the membership advertising and marketing program for local independent business owners. The 15% commission for membership application or applications and approvals is paid back to the Gold Group USA. So I think if you followed all this through and you start looking at the advance and progress, and why wouldn't it progress? It means that thousands of businesses will be offering weekly cash awards in significant amounts that continue to be paid on a repeating basis every week. And so there's no logical reason why consumers wouldn't patronize businesses that offered weekly cash awards instead of going to a business that doesn't. Does that make sense to you? I think it does. So when you take the whole concept and put it together, you can see why there'd be a rush to get into Gold Group. And remember, this is a small amount of money, so that anybody can get in to Gold Group and then share in the benefits, because the benefits are paid on an equal basis. And that is a concept that I developed called mini-level marketing. Now, everybody knows about the pyramid deal where you've got multi-level marketing. Well, that's where all the people at the bottom of the pyramid do all the work and push up to the top about 30 to 40 to 50% or more of the income, and those just goes to a few people at the top. That's multi-level. But I created a few years ago mini-level marketing, and that's just two levels. Okay, 85% goes to the second level, and 15% goes to the top level. And the top level is shared among business owners that are part of Zip Code Associates. So that's another reason they'd want to join, right? And then 85% is all the registered ABC email customer registrations. So now there's another source of income for those people. And again, audited by CPA to keep track of all the money in all the different accounts, the expenses and the income. And when everything is paid out, and that's the way my program is designed, I created a brand and a concept that I invented called capitalism. That's what makes everything go around in our economy, capitalism, but zero profit. And the reason I call it zero profit is not that a business makes zero profit, but for the marketing and advertising program aspects. And for the Gold Group USA, there's no profit incentive that strips people of value when they connect with these programs that I call distributive presence and boomerang membership income for all the money being returned. Distributive presence means that all the customers and the businesses that are connected form their own self-valuing and self-benefiting interactive dynamic group for their economy and for their value benefits as reciprocal people in a capitalist USA, only done the right way and not because what's happened in the last few years and what has driven me to this, and when I retired to think about these things and putting these things together, is I've seen the distortion of capitalism. We see it everywhere on every front today. And we've seen it develop over the last 30 years, 40 years, in which money has been, because businesses have, these big businesses that we see today everywhere, that in my opinion are way off base. And the government's even has just been in the news recently that they're starting to take a hard look at some of these companies that have grown and taken advantage of situations because of their position technically in the internet world. All of the technical aspects of the internet world have been developed, created way back when, 50, 60 years ago, or 40, 30, 40 years ago, and the ones that created it were smart enough to consolidate their advances to the point where today it's kind of ridiculous to you have to start looking at the reality of life. How big is big enough? In other words, shouldn't we see more happening at the local level instead of all of this money pouring into a few pockets around the world? And do we need 32 million businesses in the United States trying to serve people that hardly have enough money to pay living expenses today? Do we need, so when we have exclusive categories of businesses that are able to provide benefits to customers, they can be consolidated better and served better by more businesses that offer them things in return for reciprocal return for patronage, that makes the equality factor and the beneficial factor greater for everybody involved. And not that these other big businesses are going to lay down and be run over, but it's going to make it more difficult for them, because when you think of just the billions of dollars that are spent on advertising today, none of it is returned to the customers. It's all the profit that results from those billions of advertising that are spent, the profits are all returned to the big businesses. And what you have to understand, if you're a business person out here, or if you're a consumer in the USA, is those billions and billions of dollars that are spent on advertising by these big few companies is all put on the price they charge for their services and their products. Therefore, the consumer pays that billion and billions and billions and billions and billions of dollars. The consumer pays that advertising and marketing cost. And you talk about waste. I mean, it's hard to really rationally look at a situation where you pay a professional not based on the fact that they're a professional, but based on the fact that they have fallen into a particular realm of consumer interest and create a notoriety brand that couldn't be created unless they fell into that. And it's related back to personal skills, but personal skills are all based on what is possible to acquire in terms of using those personal skills to further a business venture. There's always a limited number of those personal skills that can be selected to the application, and that makes the income value of those brands much higher, because that diminishes the amount of professional skills and abilities that are given the access to notoriety that creates the brand. But does it serve all of the consumers in a way that benefits all of the consumers? I don't think so, because everybody isn't a fan of a particular kind of brand notoriety. There's fans of this kind and there's fans of that kind. There's a division, and yet the cost is borne by all of us. So the inefficiencies that have developed due to distortion in big businesses is something that we're going to see corrected. It's not any longer a part of business ethics to consolidate wealth in a way that affects more and more and more people all the time in a negative way. So it's the concepts that I'm pushing for are concepts that allow more equitable use of available values and expenses and investments that return to the people that are actually making the investments on a consuming basis and on a limited business basis, all locally, because I don't allow sales in my zip code associates to franchises or to national companies with branch businesses in different communities. They have already experienced a degree of success, and I say degree because it's been proven that the decline of franchising is rampant. I mean, the biggest franchises in the business today have had to go outside of America to generate income for their brand that they can't generate in the USA anymore. That is what has made them great, is they've continued to expand outside of the United States of America, outside of the U.S. consumers that have made them great. They've gone outside into and they brag about it. Now, I'm not trying to take benefits and so forth away from people in other nations, but I'm interested in USA, make American customers great again. That's what I want to see, and that has to do with businesses that have taken the brands that the consumers of the United States have built through their purchasing over the last 30, 40, 50 years, and they've run out of places to expand in the United States, these franchises, and therefore their management has said, well, we've got the whole world. Let's use our USA customers to go out into the other nations and develop our income over there. And it's not, I'll bet you, I can't prove this, but I'll bet you the businesses in the other nations, they don't really like the idea that USA franchises are coming into their cities and nations and able to suck away customers from their nation's local business operators. I don't think they're really happy about that. So let's turn this back into make American customers great again, and in the process make American businesses great again. That's what my program is designed to do. And there's a lot more to it, but I've already talked longer than I wanted to. And so let me beg out of here. You go to my website, and there's a link at the end of this video that allows you to go into my website. I have over 360.com registrations. I published over 132 web pages that are, most of them, or a lot of them are linked together, a lot of them aren't, because I'm mostly interested in getting the initial hardcore foundational information out, and the rest of it is logically, if the front end is good, the stuff that's coming down the pike later revealed, and because there's always the bottom feeders out there that on the internet that want to copy. They don't want to pay license fees. They don't want to have any creative originality in their experience background. They just want to copy, or they want to steal. Really, what what it amounts to. And so while a lot of this that I've talked about in this video is very revealing and very transparent, it's also, if you understand by now, which I'm sure you do, just listening to me, you don't get this just by seeing it or hearing it once. I've talked to many people and explained it to them, and when I get all done, they just kind of look at me like a calf looking at a new gate, wondering what in the world is this guy talking about, and never ever once standing back away from it and just studying it to see if anything comes through the furrows in their brow in terms of thinking, because I guarantee you, when you think about it long enough, and I haven't put it all out here on the table by any means, there's a lot more where what I just explained, there's a lot more that is there for people to absorb. But the main thing is the fact that you can go to the website and start off with this video, and then you can link down through, and there's connections of all kinds of opportunities. One of the most exciting that I've just recently came across is a deal I'm working on right now. And it's the next link, and it's only the next because it just became part of a thinking process in the last day or so. But when you get beyond that next page, then you go on to the next page and the next page and the next page, where a lot more of my business ideas and concepts are also revealed. But this second one can be a very exciting one because it involves a very talented singer who's a very well-known person in his own right, and because of his singing abilities, and also because of the amazing happy mental attitude and connections with people that he creates due to that kind of a dynamic personality that he has. So you'll go on to the next link from the website and see what I'm talking about there. But also, there's my email address at the last slide, so that you can, if you have any questions or anything, don't hesitate to send me an email. All right, I'm going to get out of here now, and thank you so much for listening to this long-winded video, and I'll see you around the corner.